Are you looking for something big enough for seasonal or destination camping, but it still needs to work for you for travel stops? Stay tuned, I got one you're gonna like. Hello everybody and welcome to Haylett RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd, and behind us, coming in between 7,600 and 7,700 pounds, an RV that I really like. Now, it doesn't work for my style of camping, but man, like I said, if what you're looking for is something to use at a seasonal or destination site, or if you're gonna snowbird, sunbird, and you need to make some travel stops along the way, this RV gets it done, son. It's a really interesting thing because like the destination use and function of this thing rocks. One of the only things it doesn't do really well is give us door side windows, and I suppose I would say that I don't know that I'd really call this one half-ton towable for a couple reasons. One, because it is long enough and strong enough, but the other thing is with a full bed slide up front, it has a fairly hefty hitch weight that many half-tons are not going to find very comfortable. But other than that, other than those two little points right there, holy crap. Start running down the laundry list of things on here. How about 0 to 100 degree rated with a warranty with allowances for full-time RVing, automatic leveling, which by the way doesn't just make it simple and easy. When you get to your destination, auto leveling systems provide more stability than like a manual or even power jack system. It's hands down the most stable system that you're going to find out there. The RV that we're looking at today is actually a customer's personal order that they requested here through Haylett RV, which I think is cool that you get to see. You can have them more than just the way that we happen to carry them here. We'll get you one built however you want it, basically. You just let us know. For the most part, this really comes close to matching what we would carry in stock. It's got the dual air conditioners. Like the seating in the living room kind of makes sense to me. The one thing they did different that I can understand for some folks works very nicely, especially if you're boondocking, is they did stick with the gas electric two-way fridge. A lot of times here at Haylett's we go with the 12-volt fridge to get you the bigger capacity and the faster cooling. But that's another cool thing about this floor plan that we'll talk about when we get in there, is the way that this floor plan organically shields the refrigerator from the heat better than, frankly, most fifth wheels. And that's another thing. Cougar gives us fifth wheel features without all of the steps in this floor plan. So if you got a hitch in your giddy up, you got a knee that you've had worked on or something like that, you got a bad hip or anything, you can cut out a bunch of the steps with the camper and still get big king bed fifth wheel features and a massive front closet in this without having to spend all the money on a big giant fifth wheel. Not too bad. And I mean, this is somehow one of those magic floor plans to me that even though it only has one slide, it looks, it feels, it functions like a multi-slide living room. But that's also what keeps that towing weight at, say, like 7,600 pounds or, potentially a little bit more or a little bit less. Now, that's, well, obviously more by the time you load cargo into it. That just kind of goes without question. And just real slow, giving you kind of a panoramic look at this thing before we start cracking everything open and looking around here. One of the... Oh, my God. What the heck was that about? I literally just choked on thin air. Like, choked on it. One of you people got, like, a little Uncle Josh voodoo doll and you twisted its neck and choked me. Like, what was that about? Anyway, sorry. Back to the task at hand. We're going to start here with the view from the either theater seat or hide-a-bed. The one we're looking at today has the theater seat upgrade. Hide-a-bed is the standard arrangement in this. And frankly, I see value in both. Like, I think that this is a great option for a theater seat right here because we are directly across from that, television system. So, look at my shiny bald head sticking out against that black TV reflection. Sorry, I'm like squirrel ADHD over here. Anyway, but at the same time, a hide-a-bed still gives you a comfortable place to seat, and when you kick your feet up on this thing, that is definitely going to be a bit of a toenail toaster right there, that's for sure. But the hide-a-bed's really going to be nice for guests. Now, as we're looking at it today, this one was built with the standard booth dinette, which is now a new dream dinette system, where instead of the posts that constantly bash your knees, it's just a like a lever action system, kung fu grip over here and authentic dyno damage. That being said, the people against the wall, still a bit of a knee knocker. It's not like I'm going to try to cheese that one over on you. What you might notice, though, is no carpeting. There's no carpeting on the flooring. In the walkable space of this RV, you won't see carpeting. The RV does also have an option for a table and chairs, but what's really kind of interesting is the table is not like a pedestal-based table. It is similar to that table right there, just without the Dream Dinette up-down function. And I really, truly hope you like this decor, because it is the only one that's currently available on Cougar. They don't have multi-decors. It does, however, have night roller shades on all the windows here in the slide-out to blot that stuff out, although in the kitchen, it will have metallic mini blinds, but that's more of a fire code kind of thing. But that's the thing. I don't know if it's that awesome entertainment center or if it's this kitchen. I don't know which one is really the star of the show here. Now, one thing I want to mention, and then we're going to start opening everything up, is the refrigerator. What we're looking at here is a standard 8 cubic foot gas electric fridge freezer with automatic changeover. It's a two-way fridge. You do also have the choice of going with a 12 volt DC compressor fridge. That is about 3 cubic feet in a Cougar. I'm trying to learn which brands are 10.7 and 10.3. Pardon me. All right, so starting up top here, one of the things I want to show you, and it's actually easy to see because they use a different pattern on that rear wall right there. Help me out. Is that called subway tile pattern? Like, I suck with home and garden television words. Like, the stuff can't, sink through my thick skull, which is hilarious because in our guest waiting lounge here, guess what we have on TV all day? Yeah, you guessed it. Home and garden television. I still can't remember this crap. But I love me that rear window right there. And look at the counter space in this thing. This is a sealed edge countertop. So even when the sink and the stove are in play, we still have good counter prep space here. Household USB plugs over here in the corner. And that yellow set of plugs, if you are going to be doing some boondocking, might be your best friend. Because in the standard default form like we're looking at here, they are inverter prepped. Now, if you add an inverter to this RV, which it is ready for, or if you choose to go with one of the more advanced Keystone solar packages available here with their Solar Flex system, that could be a live outlet. Let's say even if you're just in like a gas station parking lot or something like that. And I mean, look at this down here. All sorts of room for waste baskets, pots and pans, all sorts of big stuff. But you also still have some easy reach drawers right where you want them. But in addition to that, we have a larger drawer here below a larger oven. That is a 22-inch oven. Rockwood's very good about that as well, giving you something you can actually do some baking on. And one other thing to tell you about the two-way refrigerator on this that's actually, I suppose, an advantage of the two-way fridges that I don't talk about very often. They have easily exchangeable faceplates. So the 12-volt compressor fridge is stainless only. This comes with that, raised wood panel kind of farmhouse looking thing right there. But if you wanted to swap that off, you could. And notice how you have that like dedicated pantry right there above the converter. And note the converter's location. When we look at this in road mode, you'll notice that you can always reach that. Every now and then I'll actually bump into a floor plan in the RV industry where if the slides are closed, you can't get to the fuse box, which is a bit of a quandary. And we are still not done with all of the storage space because we have something Cougar does a lot of. A very nice pantry-tainment center here. Now, I'm in a lot of Keystone, or rather just RV owners groups, and one of those is a Keystone Cougar RV owners group on Facebook, and very helpful community, by the way. It's one of the ones I really like because everyone's like, hey, where's my low point drains? And someone has an answer instead of a snarky comment. So check that out. If I remember, I'll leave a link in the description. If I forget, ask me. But somebody asked the question, how do you keep stuff on these shelves back here without them falling down in transit? So if you have an idea or a suggestion, what would you do in that space back there? So we've seen the view from the theater seat, but just to help connect the dots, let me, saw my little shiny balding head reflection over there. I'm always weird about that. I feel like I'm not supposed to be in here, and then I step in front of the camera. I don't know. It just, I'm not saying it makes sense. It just makes sense to me. And if you think like me, then you may need psychiatric assistance. Theater seat option, thankfully, is a wall hugger a little bit, so you don't got to wrestle with it. Did you notice how it suddenly got a little darker off the right side of the screen? That's because in multiple areas of the RV, like in the front pass-through compartment over here, there's actually motion-activated lighting. Now, you could turn that
off or on motion mode. Like you can have it just like, no, I want the light off or I want the light on, or you could do what I just did right there. And that is really, really nice when you're like outside or like away for a while, because if that light was always on, this window is going to glow and you're going to get a nice old big collection of bugs right there. And you're going to be eating a load of gnats and letting them in your camper every time you open that door. Now you don't have that issue. Now the RV has 6.5-foot sidewalls. And someone's going to tell you, oh, it's like a 7-foot ceiling. I really get annoyed by that. I don't know why. It's stupid. It triggers me, but it does. And I think it's because it's not totally true. Like, yeah, maybe it's like 6'10" here at the pinnacle of this vaulted ceiling, but not over here by the sidewall. So that's the extra little stuff I like to give you. Also, as long as we're talking about it and you can see my reflection talking to itself, I think I just don't like my own reflection. I don't mind being in front of the camera. I just don't like my own reflection. Anyway, the new Blade Pure AC system here that Keystone is using, you'll find it on some of their more premium stuff like Cougars, Montanas, some of their other brands. It is fantastic. So first of all, if you look at the actual air conditioner unit itself right here, it looks a little different because you can pop this faceplate off and you can actually use a residential air filter in there, which is a far better grade, quality, effectiveness of air filter than you normally get out of any RV. Now, as we start rolling forward, start counting up all the ceiling vents above our head right here, and understand there's like 2 more off camera. If I lean forward, there you go. So even all the way back here. What they did here, it's very similar to like, if anyone's ever been in a band or something like that, or run a sound system, if you want to make an experience more pleasant for listeners, what you do is you use more speakers with less volume instead of just like be cranking it up to 11, brother, kind of speakers that you get at Woodstock that blow your eardrums, and is the reason I have tinnitus and will till I die, because I was in front of a lot of those speakers when I was young and playing rock and roll music, brother. But what I learned is more speakers with less volume is better. That's what's basically happening here. More outlets for the air, and the little vortex circular nature of these things pulls air out of those vents better. So what you get is more cold air in here, faster and more quietly. Now, standard on this RV is a single 15,000 BTU air conditioner, which doesn't feel like it's enough. These are all 50 amp, they're all second air capable. And I'm open to feedback on this, but I will tell you, even here in the Midwest, like, it doesn't get as hot as, say, Arizona or Texas, but even here with a private bedroom slide, there's a lot of cubic feet. It really feels like this is a floor plan that is begging for a second air. Is there anybody who wouldn't want a second air on this, and why wouldn't you? That's maybe the better question. And there's not a wrong answer to that. I'm genuinely curious. Now, a couple other cool things here I want to show you as we're moving forward. Our in-command panel is right here. You can turn the lights on and off in the RV with that. But what if you're, say, like all the way back here in the kitchen? You don't want to do that. Or you just like, I just want a light switch. Well, good news. You have one. In the bedroom and back here on the rear wall, there's still just switches for the lights. But you also have that extra switch up there by the entry door. One of the other things I think is really, really cool in this model is not just that all of the lights here in the slide are on one switch, but they're also on a dimmer function. So, and you know, you can kind of raise it up, lower it down. Now my camera is like freaking out, man. Did you see that? It's like, I don't know what to do. And I really hope that didn't give anybody a migraine, because I know that can be migraine inducing. But what I want to show you here is you can just kind of dim the lights down. And especially nice if you have, say, like a grandbaby on that little dinette or something like that. And again, you can always have that light in motion mode, so if somebody needs to wake up at night and find their way over to the bathroom, about the time the light from the slide fades out, that light kicks on, but you got a hard closing door right there, so no one's going to be disturbed. Now the bathroom over here, porcelain foot flush, and boy, howdy, how about the legroom on this one? That is fairly fluffy friendly right there. And sometimes it doesn't have to be massive. It just has to be something. And just giving me a space to hang towels right there, thank you, Cougar. It didn't need to be much. It just needed to be enough. Now, that vaulted ceiling is awesome in the shower, because that means very comfortable headroom here, and especially the way they position the skylight. Even though this isn't an extra tall sidewall, I never feel restricted here. And this one's not, like, the way this one's set up, it just isn't compatible with a larger rectangular shower. I personally, even at my size, 6'3", with long gangly arms, I personally find this perfectly fine. That is one of those things that is very much something different people feel very differently about, though. And those are, you know, if you're bigger than me, you may find that that is just a little bit restrictive. Now, remember, we have added the second air conditioner to this one right here, actually at the behest of the future owner who purchased this RV. But sliding up here, actually into, like, if you lay down at night, this would basically be your point of view if you're over here on the right side of the bed. Couple details for you. Something I didn't mention in the kitchen, but it is normal in this classification of RV, is these are all pocket screwed cabinets. When we're in more of a premium quality, I'm not aware of anyone else really on the level of a Cougar not doing that, but not every trailer does that. So I still want to kind of point those things out. Remember those inverter outlets we were talking about. If you choose to add a TV over here, or if you need to run like a CPAP machine or something like that, admittedly, with the king bed option expressed in this one, there is not a whole lot of room to be able to set a CPAP machine, but you are theoretically capable with that inverter outlet set right there. If anyone has a floor plan like this, where the bed eats the entire slide box and you're a CPAP user and have found a solution, would you do me a favor and leave me some comments kind of showcasing, like telling me what you did, or send me a link to a product you found that allowed you to work around that kind of little potential hiccup right there. I'd be very interested to know how somebody's able to work around that. Now, I know that CPAP users are a big part of the RV community. I don't happen to be one personally, maybe not yet, maybe in the future, who knows? I keep packing on the pandemic poundage and it grows more likely by the day. But currently, not the case. So I don't personally have an awesome frame of reference there. And you folks drive our channel, I would really appreciate a little help from you if you got one there. I'll tell you what, man, this whole RV lights up like a Christmas tree. I don't have the shades pulled. It's just blackouts outside. It is just dark out there. And the fact is, I mean, you're almost you're like in a suntanning booth in this thing. And of course, no Haylett RV tour would be complete on a new RV without looking at the slides closed in road mode. One of the things I want to show you, though, is even with the king bed, you can still open and close that door in case you need to get up here. The in-command panel, obviously, right next to the entry door, right when you walk in. The bathroom completely unobstructed straight across from us. But this is really the thing right here that is shocking on this model, is that on a lot of bigger trailers with bed slides, the message that I often have is, well, it's better used when you get there rather than getting there. That's not the case on this one. This is something that absolutely rocks your socks off when you reach a destination, but getting there doesn't suck. You can walk straight through this thing unimpeded. You don't have to do any kind of funky, you know, Olympic hurdling or Luke knee walkering over anything. The sink, yeah, we can argue the sink's a little wonky to get to. And obviously, there's a little bit of cabinet space, like behind the slide fascia stuff that's lost, but nothing major. And a couple little RV and pro tips here for you. Now, it's less critical on a model like this that has that bracketed dinette kind of thing, because the table's not flying anywhere. But on a normal pedestal-based kind of dinette, you should actually travel with that table in the down position. And in case you were kind of wondering about the TV jiggle banging around, they include that handy little nylon buckle strap there to keep her tied down in one spot.
Man, and where do we begin with this big old beauty right here? How about the nose cap? Have you noticed it looks a little bit different from most of the Cougars that we show off here at Haylett RV? Most Cougars in the Midwest have a front windshield. This floor plan does not, because it has a front closet. What's interesting is that's actually kind of a little bit of a glimpse for us that they get the Cougars built out of Indiana, because the Cougars built out of Pendleton, Oregon, the West Coast Cougars, do not ever have front windshields, which is, I think, kind of interesting. A couple different reasons for it. I would suspect they do a lot of desert dry camping out there, and more ways to keep the sun out of that thing's probably handy. Now, in a floor plan like this, the way that I like to say it is we don't have a windshield because the only thing we'd be looking at is Uncle Gary's sundress, and I don't think anybody wants to see that on a Tuesday. Moving on. Below the headboard area of the bed, they do give us an extra little storage pocket outside, which is nice, because there are some times when manufacturers give us a front closet, we lose good outside storage. Now, what I like that they did here is they gave us that headboard storage right there while also still maintaining a pass-through, albeit a smaller door on this side, admittedly. Now, up top here, which is kind of blocked by the baggage door, which normally isn't an issue because you don't typically need both of them at the same time, is, as the name indicates, docking station. Simple water and like cable TV hookup. Now, the RV has standard roof solar. We'll get a little bit of a look at that in a few minutes here. But you also have a portable plug for a side mount in case you want to like park in the shade and chase the sun a little bit. And down here, we see some of that hardware. On the basic SolarFlex package, we have a 15 amp controller, a 200 watt panel up top, and then above that you see inverter prep, and to the left of that, the automatic leveling controls, all nice and easy to reach, but up out of the way, away from shifting cargo. I like how they protected that. But now passing it over, handing it over to the other side of the pass-through, we have a bigger door for easier access. And then you see the in-command brain system going on right there. So one of the things that you're not seeing, because I left the shield up on that, is that every single wire in this is actually color-coded, which I think is really cool. That is a not necessarily a Keystone exclusive thing, but in the world of towable RVs, I'm not yet aware of anyone else in the mainstream doing that. It might be I know Winnebago was working toward that. I don't know if they've yet accomplished that. I'll be buffing up on my Winnebago knowledge moving forward in the future. Now, one of the things that's a little deceptive here is this thing has a large awning, but it's just a long trailer with no slides on the door side, which I think is absolutely fantastic for park friendliness, because whether you want to put a deck over here or just some chairs, a table, or a screen room or something like that, there's no slides in the way interfering with all of those things, which is awful darn nice. Magnet holdbacks holding those baggage doors open, whether it's the pass-through door or the little camp kitchen door. And I want to address something that is just, maybe it just feels like it's staring me in the face because I know about it, but that solar panel on these does not normally sit up that high. The normal, I think it's like 2-inch brackets or something like that Keystone prefers to use, were just simply not available. So they had to basically go to like a 4 or a 6-inch bracket, whatever that is. And I get that it looks nuts, but their engineers did all the testing. The wind's not gonna rip it off there or anything like that, and it obviously doesn't stick up past the air conditioner or air conditioners, as it were. It looks goofy. It functions fine, and it's absolutely not their intention to leave it that way indefinitely. That is just a temporary little thing due to parts procurement at the time of this video. But you know what? When there's something wacky, I'd rather acknowledge it. Now, I want to point out something here I wish manufacturers would start doing more of. Either move those outside speakers down like into the skirting of the camper, or frankly, I'd like it if manufacturers just got rid of the outside speakers entirely. I've got portable Bluetooth speakers. I think a lot of people who go camping do. It's not like they're that expensive anyway. Frankly, I think they sound better, and I like that I get to keep my sound localized and not blow the neighbors away. That is one thing. It's one of the very few things I really don't super care for on this RV, is just the positioning of the speakers. But like, if I'm getting down to the nitty gritty nitpicking, there we go, nitty pitty. I don't even know what that is. I don't think that's a thing, actually. But if that's the worst that they've done here, I think that they're doing just fine. Now, that is the camp kitchen grill, Capital Grill over here. Of course, if you don't want it, it's basically just on a drawer. You could easily remove that. You could easily remove the outside fridge. So you have a mini camp kitchenette standard. If you wanted to remove it, well, that's up to you guys. That entry door, by the way, is anti-slam, and although it's not crazy windy right now, it was earlier. If I'd have opened an umbrella, I'd have jumped off to Mary Poppins land and been Barry Poppins and probably popped my backside and hurt myself or something like that. I don't even know what I'm going for here. I just know it's failing. That looks really cool in the sunset, doesn't it? The gleam coming off that thing. Also, kind of like those roof brackets, one other thing I want to make you aware of is that normally these would have a rear ladder on them. That is just an unfortunate thing where the ladder supplier cannot keep up with the current market demand. So unfortunately, there are some Cougars that are being shipped without ladders in the meantime. The good news is you're not being charged for them. The bad news is when they come in, you're not also being automatically supplied with one. So if you want to add one later, you can, but you're not being charged for it. So there you go. Reverse travel lighting in those taillights. And notice down here, we have a rear bumper and a receiver hitch and being better than or in that regard, I think. We are backup camera ready. We have all LED tail and marker lights, which is awful darn nice. And let me get you up close and personal here on the slide outs to look at a couple things on these seals. So trying to rustle one of my fingers out of my gloves over here. Let's see if I can do this with one left finger. Come on. Oh no, come on. Nailed it. First time, every time. Anyway, if you can peek back here, which after all that effort, I'm not even sure you can see back there. There's a second wiper seal, plus we have a bulb seal on the inside and or outside. And then when you go visit a Cougar or a Montana, and I think Outback Alpine Avalanche might also do this, take a fingernail and run it right here on that piece of trim. You're going to feel an inversion groove. So why should you care about that? And the answer to that question is because it helps keep the rain water that washes down the sidewall of that slide over there from wicking into the subfloor. That little inversion groove, not a whole lot to write home about, but water can't go up without help. It can only go down. So water will tend to gather up in that groove. It will pool, drip, and not go into the subflooring of the RV. And that's just, it's a little thing that they do that turns into avoiding a big, major repair down the line. But what is really awesome about that, and I think it really speaks volume about what Keystone's doing here, is that's not a big deal typically for the very first owner. That is there so that this RV continues to work, not just in, like, while it's under warranty, years 1, 2, or 3, but like 8, 10, 12 years from now, so you're not putting a slide repair kit on your flooring over here. It's those extra things they do. But as long as I was under there looking, there's one other thing I want to show you out here. And that is nothing to do with the slide out, but rather what's down here. The, like, sewer outlet. So this is a a rear kitchen with not a front bathroom, but not too far off. So you know what that means? Well, unfortunately, that means there's not enough room here in the underbelly to try to cross-pipe the bathroom gray and black against the kitchen gray tank, which is why this one, like, you look at the specs, like, holy crap, this one has a huge gray tank. It's because it actually has two. So you do have two separate sewer outlets here. You also, though, as long as we're down here, you have I'm bumping the camera into things, a heated enclosed underbelly. It also has a radiant barrier. It also has direct heat venting into the underbelly as well as directly onto each holding tank. And it also has thermostatically controlled 12-volt tank heaters you can activate if you also need to, which is one of the ways Cougar achieves an absolutely stellar weather package for its class. So, let me know what you think about this one. I've shared the areas that I think are awesome and a couple things to consider. If there's a couple things I missed or some questions you have, let us know. And of course, I'll leave you a link in the video description where you can always check for pricing and availability at any time. Now, one of the things I like about this too is there's some campsites where maybe that rear kitchen gives you better views as compared to a front kitchen. But I will also leave you a couple links to some front kitchens just to kind of cross-compare if you'd like. So check those links in the video description. Like our video, let me know what you think about this one, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't to catch us on the next one. And until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and I'm going to go put on some gloves, everyone. It is getting cold as that sun goes down.